All right, let's jump right in. If you're studying English literature, or honestly, even if you just love getting lost in a really good story, you are in the exact right place. What we're doing today is a comprehensive foundational explainer on literature itself. We're going to break down exactly what it is, why it matters so much, and how the whole thing is structured. Welcome to BR Literary Corner. Our today's topic is Introduction to Literature. So, here's our roadmap for today's explainer. 1. Defining literature. 2. Why study literature. 3. The major forms of literature. 4. Characteristics and functions. And 5. A quick knowledge quiz. Section 1. Defining literature. What exactly is it? You know, the word itself actually has some pretty fascinating origins. Literature comes from the Latin word litera, which literally just translates to letter or writing. But as we all know, it's so much more than just ink on a page. It is the artistic expression of human thoughts, emotions, and experiences, whether that's conveyed through spoken or written language. Think of it as pure artistry, but just using words as the canvas. And that brings us to a crucial takeaway. In simple words, literature is the mirror of life. When you read a truly great piece of literature, you aren't just looking at made-up characters. You're actually looking into a mirror that reflects our own human feelings, our history, and our shared values right back at us. It's a pretty powerful concept. Section 2. Why study literature? Its importance. So why do we actually study it? Well, diving into this field goes way beyond just reading stories for fun, right? On a practical level, it actively develops your critical thinking, sharpens your reading and writing skills, and massively expands your vocabulary. But honestly, the real magic happens on a human level. Literature is essentially the ultimate tool for empathy. It literally allows us to step outside of our own heads, understand completely different cultures, and experience life from countless different perspectives. Section 3. Major forms of literature. Categories. Okay, let's break down 3 of the major forms. First up is poetry. This relies heavily on rhythm and imagery to express emotion. So think of beautiful sonnets or those grand, sweeping odes. Next is drama. Now, this is written specifically for performance on a stage. We're talking Shakespearean tragedies, modern comedies, that sort of thing. And finally, we have prose, which just uses ordinary, everyday language. This is the neighborhood where your standard novels, short stories, essays, and biographies live. Then, of course, we have the ultimate dividing line, fiction versus nonfiction. Fiction is born entirely from imagination. It's the dragons, the wizards, the completely made-up worlds. Nonfiction, on the other hand, keeps its feet firmly planted on the ground. It is based completely on real facts, true events, and actual recorded history. Section 4. Characteristics and functions. What it is and does. So what actually makes a piece of writing a true masterpiece? Well, it starts with immense creativity and imagination, brought to life through the sheer beauty of the language itself. But, a pretty sentence just isn't enough on its own. True literature tackles universal themes. It possesses deep emotional depth. And that is what gives it the cultural and historical significance to long outlast its author. And what role does all this play in our world today? I mean, yes, obviously it entertains us and it educates us, but its true function goes so much deeper than that. Literature inspires. It acts like a giant time capsule, preserving culture and history for future generations, all while promoting the exact kind of critical thinking we need to navigate our own modern lives. Section 5. Quick Knowledge Quiz. Test your knowledge. All right, question 1. What is literature? Think back to the very beginning of this explainer. What was that Latin root word we talked about, and what was the core metaphor we used? Question 2. Which form of literature is specifically written to be performed on stage? Try to remember those distinct categories we just went over. And question 3. What is the fundamental difference between fiction and nonfiction? I really want you to think about these. In fact, go ahead and drop your answers to all 3 questions right down in the comment section below. It's honestly a fantastic way to solidify everything we just learned. As we wrap up today's explainer, I want to leave you with one final provocative thought. How will understanding literature as the mirror of life change the way you read your very next book?
Next time you open a novel, a poem, or a play, remember that you aren't just reading words on a page. You're looking directly into a reflection of the human experience. I really hope this explainer helps you build a rock-solid foundation for all your future studies in English literature. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. If you found this explainer helpful, definitely like, share it with your classmates, and subscribe to Be Our Literary Corner. Hit that bell icon so you never miss an upcoming explainer. Keep reading, keep learning, and I will see you next time. Allah Hafiz.